let's kick off this deep dive. And we're looking at SparkMap today.
Sounds good.
I think this will be pretty interesting, especially for our listeners who are really looking for ways to kind of shake things up in terms of learning and make it more fun.
Yeah, I think they're going to like this one for sure.
Yeah, and visually appealing too, because one of the first things that struck me about SparkMap was just how it takes like game design elements and applies it to learning.
It's really cool. It's like, instead of just reading a textbook or going through a worksheet, you're actually like going on a journey.
Yeah,
you're exploring a world.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually call it a game map. And it is very much like that. It's basically like you take a background image and it can be anything.
Right.
And then you create these like checkpoints along the way. And, each checkpoint can be a different activity, whether it's a quiz or video or, something where you're dragging and dropping things.
Yeah. And that's what I really like about it. It can really cater to different learning styles, right? So, some people are very visual learners. They're going to love this map-based layout. Other people learn by listening,
right,
so they can dive into the audio recordings and pronunciation features. And then some people learn best by doing, right?
Right.
So there are all these interactive elements, the drag and drop exercises. There's something for everyone.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Now, one of the things that the website really emphasizes is how easy this is to use.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking about a drag and drop interface, no coding required, lots of customization options. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. And that's so important for any tool, especially one that's encouraging you to get in there and be creative and, customize it to your own needs. You don't want there to be a bunch of technical barriers that get in the way.
Right.
And they even offer tutorials and support, which I think is really key.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if you're a beginner and you're not sure where to get started.
Okay. Now let's dive into this how it works section a little bit. So it seems like you can choose a layout, either a pre-designed template or even like your own background, and then you start building out your map, right? And each checkpoint you add can have like a different activity, text prompts, multimedia, assessment tasks, all sorts of things.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of those choose your own adventure books. Where you're reading along and then all of a sudden you get to make a decision.
Right.
And your decision takes you down a different path in the book.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that with SparkMap, except instead of a story, you're leading the learner through this world of knowledge.
Yeah. And it's really great because like you were saying earlier about different learners, you can create these personalized learning paths.
Yeah.
So if you have a student that, needs a little bit of extra support in one area, you can have them go down, a slightly different route than a student who's already mastered those concepts.
Exactly. And that's, we're trying to get away from this one-size-fits-all approach to education.
Right.
And with SparkMap, it recognizes that learners have diverse backgrounds and skills and learning styles. And it gives educators the tools to really individualize those learning experiences.
Now, the other thing I like about this is it's not just for, traditional classrooms.
Right.
It's designed to work in blended learning environments, remote learning environments. Students can access it from anywhere as long as they have an internet connection.
Yep. Laptops, tablets, even smartphones.
Yeah, it's very versatile. And I think that's something that's really important in today's world, right?
Absolutely.
So, I was looking at the website and it talks about flipped classrooms.
Right.
I don't know if our listeners are familiar with that term.
Yeah, maybe you should explain that just a little bit.
Yeah, so basically it's an approach where students learn the material outside of class. So they might watch a video lecture or read something online.
Right.
And then class time is actually used for more
for the activities.
Interactive activities and discussions.
Yeah, so it's like they get the information on their own and then they come to class ready to apply it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I can see how SparkMap would fit in really well with that because, the students can watch the lecture at home, come to class, and then dive into this SparkMap that has all these quizzes and exercises and,
It's much more engaging, right,
it is.
than just sitting there listening to the teacher talk, for an hour.
Absolutely.
So you're getting them involved, you're getting them thinking critically, you're getting them to solve problems and apply that knowledge in a meaningful way.
Okay. Let's talk about the fun stuff now. The activity types. I mean, they've got a ton of them.
Yeah.
I think they list 15 different activity types.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a lot to choose from.
Yeah. So quizzes, drag and drops, fill in the blanks, interactive videos. They even have one called image hotspots, which I think is pretty neat.
I like that one. That's a fun one.
Yeah. So
It's
basically,
like up on different parts of an image and it reveals,
Mhm.
hidden information or clues or something like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of like a little treasure hunt.
I like it. And then
Yeah.
speak the words. That uses speech recognition
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
to help people practice their pronunciation. So, I mean, that's great for language learning, obviously.
Right, right.
But I can see how it could be used in other subjects, too.
Yeah, for sure. And each activity type is really designed not just to be fun and engaging, but also to promote,
Right.
Different learning outcomes. So, for example, a quiz can assess whether they're understanding,
Right.
What they're reading and comprehending it.
Whereas an interactive video might encourage them to think more critically
Okay.
or to analyze something.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I remember back in the day, and I don't know about you, but we used to have stacks and stacks of flashcards.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I had them for everything.
Right. Well, they've got something called dialogue cards, which are basically like digital flashcards.
Yeah, I love those.
I think that's so cool.
And they're so much better than the paper ones because, you can incorporate multimedia into them. You can have audio recordings. You could even add in some gamified features to make it more fun.
Yeah.
And they're easy to organize and update and all that.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about how this can be used in different settings.
Yeah.
But we should also point out that it's not just for one particular subject.
Right.
I mean, they give examples of STEM, humanities, languages.
Yeah, even creative projects, art, music, all that.
Yeah. It seems like you could use this for pretty much anything. Yeah, the possibilities are pretty amazing. I mean, imagine, leading students through a science experiment.
Right.
Or turning a history lesson into this captivating journey through time. Or, having them create a virtual art exhibit.
I love it.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
It's like you have this multi-purpose tool that can be adapted to fit whatever you're trying to teach or learn.
All right. So let's dive into some specific examples here.
Okay.
Just to kind of give people a better sense of how versatile this thing really is. So, for example,
Okay.
let's say you're teaching a history lesson about ancient civilizations.
Okay.
Instead of just lecturing about, dates and facts and all that,
Yeah.
you could create a SparkMap that takes them on like a virtual tour of ancient Egypt, Greece,
Right.
Rome.
Right.
Each checkpoint on the map could be, images, videos, interactive exercises.
Yeah, they could explore the pyramids. They could try to decipher hieroglyphics. Maybe even have like a virtual debate about, democracy versus a republic or something like that.
I love it.
Get them thinking.
Yeah, that's so much more engaging than just reading it in a textbook.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of engagement, one of the things I really like about this is the game-based learning aspect of it. I mean, obviously the game map concept is inherently game-like.
Yeah.
But they take it a step further.
Yeah, they add in things like, points and badges and leaderboards.
Right.
Maybe even virtual rewards, and all these things can really tap into those students who are motivated by that sort of thing.
Right.
It makes it feel more like a fun challenge
It does.
than like a chore.
And there's actually research that shows that game-based learning can be really effective.
Yeah.
It can improve engagement, motivation, and even knowledge retention.
Absolutely.
So they're really tapping into, some good stuff there.
Yeah, and it's not just about slapping on, points and badges. It's about making that whole experience engaging and motivating.
Intrinsically rewarding.
Right, exactly.
Not just relying on extrinsic motives.
It's got to be fun on its own, right?
Right, exactly.
Not just because you're going to get a prize at the end.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about the two different subscription plans that they offer.
All right, let's do that.
So they have the Silver Spark Pass and the Golden Spark Pass.
Okay, and the Silver Spark Pass is $10 a month.
Okay.
And that gives you some advanced analytics so you can track how your students are doing, some enhanced customization options, and priority email support. And then the Golden Spark Pass is $100 a year.
Okay, so you save a little bit.
Which is like a 20% discount if you do the math.
Yeah, good deal.
And you get everything that comes with the Silver plan. Plus
a few extras.
Yeah, they've got exclusive monthly workshops or tutorials that you get access to.
Nice. So they've made it affordable for both individuals and institutions, which is good.
Now, one of the things I was looking at on their website is the FAQ section.
Yeah.
And they address a lot of common questions that I think people would have. They talk about how it's suitable for different subjects, which we've already talked about.
Right.
They emphasize the user-friendliness for beginners, which is good.
Yeah.
And then they also talk about how it's accessible on multiple devices.
Yeah.
Desktops, laptops, tablets, smartphones.
So it's very versatile.
It is.
Like in that sense, too.
And, I get the sense from reading through that
that
they're really committed to making this as accessible and as user-friendly as possible.
They want to remove those barriers, right? So that people can just focus on creating those great learning experiences.
Okay. Now let's step back for a second and think about, the bigger picture here. What do you see as some of the key pedagogical benefits?
Oh, that's a good question.
Of using something like SparkMap?
Well, for me, one of the things that jumps out is that it really promotes active learning. The students aren't just passively sitting there absorbing information. Right. They're actually interacting with it.
Right.
We're having to, make decisions and think about things and solve problems.
And it's personalized.
Yes, absolutely.
You can create those differentiated pathways based on the student's individual needs.
Yeah, and it gives them a sense of ownership over their learning, too, because they get to choose which path they want to take. They get to explore different things.
It's not just a one-size-fits-all approach.
No, not at all.
And let's not forget about the collaborative potential here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, yes, you can use this for individual learning, but it also allows students to work together.
Right.
Create maps, collaboratively learn from each other.
And collaboration is so important, right?
It is, especially in today's world.
Yeah. I mean, it helps them develop those 21st century skills.
Right.
Like communication, problem solving, critical thinking.
Exactly.
All those things that employers are looking for. And the SparkMap really does provide that platform for students to work together.
It does.
Both in person and online.
So it seems like SparkMap isn't just a tool for delivering content.
No, it's more than that.
It's a tool for creating these dynamic, engaging, personalized learning experiences.
Yeah, exactly.
That really cater to the needs of today's learners.
And it does all of that while remaining user-friendly and accessible, which is pretty amazing.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about the potential benefits.
Yeah.
But we should also consider, are there any potential drawbacks or limitations?
Right.
I mean, no tool is perfect.
That's true. That's true. It's good to be critical and think about both sides.
Yeah. So one concern I have is that it does rely on technology.
Right.
I mean, yes, it's great that it's accessible on multiple devices, but you do need a stable internet connection.
Yeah.
And you need access to those devices.
Right.
So, if you're in a school or maybe you're an individual that doesn't have a lot of resources, that could be a problem.
That's a valid point. You have to think about the digital divide, right?
Yeah.
And make sure that everyone has equal access to this technology.
Another potential drawback I see is the risk of over-gamification.
Oh, interesting. Say more about that.
Well, game-based learning can be great.
Yeah.
But we don't want to get so caught up in the points and the badges and the leaderboards that we forget about the actual learning.
Right. It should enhance the learning.
Yeah.
Not overshadow it.
Exactly.
We don't want it to just be about, winning the game. It's about understanding the concepts.
And developing those skills.
Right. Exactly.
And, another thing is, while SparkMap offers a lot of different activity types, it might not be the best tool for every single learning objective.
That's a good point.
Some things might be better taught using traditional methods, or maybe even a different digital tool.
Yeah, we have to remember it's a tool, and like any tool, it has its strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
So we need to use it strategically.
And then the last thing I would say is, we have to be mindful of distractions.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Because these interactive features, while they're engaging, they can also be distracting if we're not careful.
Yeah, we don't want them spending all their time, flipping on things and exploring the map and not actually learning the material.
So it's important to set clear expectations and guidelines for the students.
Sure.
So, at the end of the day, I think SparkMap has the potential
I think so.
to be a really valuable tool. But like any tool we have, to use it thoughtfully and strategically.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are your overall impressions? What really stands out to you about SparkMap?
Well, I think what's really impressive is just how versatile it is.
Yeah.
You can use it for so many different subjects. It works with different learning styles. It can be used in different settings.
It's very adaptable.
It is.
And that user-friendly interface makes it easy for anyone to use.
I also like that it emphasizes personalized learning paths and that it incorporates those game-based learning elements.
Yeah, it's clear that they've really thought about engagement and motivation.
Yeah, they have.
It's not just about, dry facts and figures.
Right.
It's about making learning fun and exciting.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on, I want to mention a few more things that I think you'll find really interesting.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So, remember how we talked about those 15 different activity types? Well, it turns out there are a few more.
Oh, really?
That aren't explicitly listed on the website.
Like secret features.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
So one of them is called Time Traveler.
Time Traveler. Okay.
And it allows you to create these interactive timelines where the learners can explore historical events.
Oh, wow.
Scientific discoveries, or even like the evolution of a particular concept.
That sounds amazing.
So, imagine being able to visualize the progression of historical events or trace the development of a scientific theory over time.
It really brings it to life, right?
It does.
It's not just a bunch of dates and names on a page.
Yeah. It's very hands-on, very visual.
And it helps them understand the connections between different events and ideas.
And then another secret activity that I think you'll love is called branching narratives.
Branching narratives. I like the sound of that.
So basically, this is like a choose-your-own-adventure.
Oh, I love those.
Type of learning experience.
Yeah.
Where the learner's decisions actually influence the course of the story.
Ah, that's brilliant.
I mean, imagine using this for a literature lesson.
Oh, that would be great.
The students could make choices that affect the plot and lead to different outcomes.
Or even for a science lesson, right?
Yeah.
Where their choices affect the outcome of an experiment.
I love it.
So they learn about cause and effect.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
So, these secret activities really add a whole new level of depth and interactivity to SparkMap.
It's like finding those bonus levels in a video game, you know?
Exactly.
It makes you want to keep playing.
It does.
Or in this case, keep learning.
It really showcases the creativity and the innovation behind SparkMap's design.
Absolutely.
And it makes me wonder what other surprises they have in store for us.
Yeah, it seems like they're always coming up with something new,
Yeah, they are.
Which is great.
And I think that's a really good sign because it shows that they're listening to their users. Right. They're trying to improve the product.
Yeah, they're not just sitting back and, resting on their laurels. They're really invested in making this the best tool that it can be.
It's like they're building a community almost.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Not just a product, but a community.
A community of educators and learners who are, shaping the future of education together.
Speaking of community, I'm curious, what kind of support resources do they offer?
That's a good question.
Do they have a forum, a help center? Any other avenues for getting help or connecting with other educators?
Yeah, that's really important for any platform like this. Yeah. Especially one that's encouraging you to be creative and to customize things. You're going to need some help along the way, right?
So far.
From what I can tell, they offer email support.
Okay.
They have some tutorials and a pretty comprehensive FAQ section on the website.
I think it would be great if they had like a forum or maybe some live webinar.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
Where educators could share their ideas and best practices and things like that.
Yeah, a dedicated community forum would be fantastic. It would allow people to connect and collaborate, learn from each other, share their SparkMap creations, get feedback.
Yeah, it'd be a game changer.
It would.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit here and think about you, and your interests. We've talked a lot about SparkMap, its features, benefits, and all that. How does all of this connect with your own goals?
Well, I think it aligns really well with, what you were saying earlier about wanting to find new ways to make learning more engaging and effective and personalized.
Yeah.
SparkMap really offers that.
It does.
With its interactive maps and all the different activities and that user-friendly interface.
And, given your preference for visual learning, gamification, personalized learning paths, I think this would be
I think so too.
Right up your alley.
I'm excited to try it out.
Now, it's important to remember
Yeah.
that this is a tool.
Right.
And like any tool, its effectiveness depends on how it's used.
That's true. That's true.
So, approach it with a clear understanding of what you're trying to achieve.
Right. What are your learning objectives?
Right.
What are the needs of your students?
Exactly.
And, what's your teaching style?
And be open to experimentation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Try new things, get creative with the different activity types, customize the maps to fit your needs.
Make it your own.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the beauty of this tool. It's so flexible
and
adaptable. You can really create something unique for your learners.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you to explore SparkMap further.
Yeah, check out their website.
They have a free trial you can try. See if it sparks your imagination.
And remember, learning should be an adventure.
It should.
It should be a journey of discovery and growth.
Yeah.
And with SparkMap, maybe this is the tool that can guide you and your learners on that journey.
Well said. Well said. And on that note, I think we'll wrap things up here. This has been a really interesting deep dive.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
And I hope our listeners have learned a lot about SparkMap.
Me too.
And how it can be used to create those engaging and effective learning experiences.
Absolutely.
So until next time, happy learning, everyone.
Happy learning.